Here we go.
So, last night after the Dallas Cowboy game, I had to sit watching this trend on X. Micah Parsons to the Eagles! Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. Of course, the Cowboys had just lost at home to the Eagles 34-6 by getting outscored in the second half 20-0, by getting outscored in the third quarter 14-0, which means for the season they have been outscored in the third quarter alone 82-22. 82-22 in the third quarter alone. And of course, the Eagles fans were Eagles flying to this conclusion that Micah, who of course grew up in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, played at Penn State, is itching to escape the Dallas Cowboys and come home to roost for the Eagles. And you know what my reaction was to all of the above as I sat watching it trend on X? You can have him. Good riddance. You make him the highest paid defensive player in NFL history. You can have Micah and you can have his podcast that he seems to take even more seriously than he does football. You can have Micah and his spectacular basketball ability, which won him the MVP of the All-Star Weekend Celebrity Game. Way to go, Micah. At this rate that he's going, he'll never, ever win a defensive MVP in the NFL, as in Defensive Player of the Year, which is why, I'm going to say it one more time, he's mostly hype, a whole lot of smoke, a whole lot of mirrors. Oh, Micah's back yesterday. And the Cowboys gave up 34 at home to the Eagles. I'm going to remind you, Micah played when the Packers scored 27 in the first half of last year's home playoff game. I'm going to remind you that Micah played when the Saints scored 35 in the first half of this season's home opener at Jerry World. On the way to winning 44-19, Micah played in that game. Micah played when the Ravens had a Justin Tucker field goal from 40 yards to go up 31-6 early in the fourth quarter at home this year. Micah played. Too often I've had to file a missing Parsons report during games. So Eagles, hey, you've got everything else you need. Why don't you just go ahead and put a little icing on your Super Bowl cake by making Micah the most overpaid defensive player in NFL history? Go ahead. You got him. You want him. Take him. All of which was why, when 34-6 ended, I had my wife, Ernestine, shoot a video of me throwing my Dallas Cowboy hat and throwing my Brandon Aubrey jersey, my lucky number 17 that has brought nothing but bad luck to everybody except Brandon Aubrey, who's still the greatest kicker in the history of the world, but who cares? And as you might have seen, our daughter Hazel, our little Maltese, was sitting next to me on the recliner. She was okay with the hat throw, but when I yanked the jersey off over my head, Hazel said, uh-oh, he's losing it. And as you probably saw, she bailed. She jumped right off the chair, just the way so many Dallas Cowboy fans have been jumping right off the bandwagon. I mean, seriously, the Dallas Cowboys I grew up loving and living for have now been blown out in 5 straight home games. Think about that. Think about this. Through the Detroit game that we stole last year at home, we had actually won 16 straight home games. Go figure. I don't know how. I don't know why. And then the last 5 home games in a row, we've been blown out. Blown out. Can't compete. Green Bay last year. Then this season, New Orleans, then Baltimore, then Detroit. God, that was a 47-point debacle. And now Philadelphia 34-6. Do you realize what the average score of the last 5 Dallas Cowboy home games has been? Please, let this compute. Let this digest. Here's the average score. Visiting team 40, Cowboys 18. 40-18 is the average score of the last 5 Dallas Cowboy Home games. The last 5, it's 40-18 opponents' average score. Do you realize my Dallas Cowboys have been outscored by 110 points over the last 5 home games? That is correct. No exaggeration, no embellishment. The 5 visiting teams have scored 201 total points, while my Cowboys have scored 91. It's 201-91 over the last 5 home games. That's why I call Jerry World Scary World. That is just so scary, so freaking scary. This is rotten to the core. This is non-competitive at home. Yet and still, as you know, I really thought yesterday would be different. As I told you on this show last Monday, I truly believed Cooper Rush would operate the offense much more smoothly and efficiently and effectively than Dak has, especially of late. I truly believed with all my heart and soul that Cooper Rush's mere presence, veteran presence, would make everyone on both sides of the ball more confident, more locked in, just believing. And believe it or not, I could not have been any more wrong about Cooper Rush yesterday. I mean, help me out. What happened to the Cooper Rush? I saw it with my own eyes. I saw him go 5-1 in his first 6 starts. What happened to that Cooper Rush who trailed only 20-17 early in the fourth quarter at Philly in the lone game that he lost? It was just 20-17 and we couldn't stop Jalen Hurts. What happened to the Cooper Rush who just a week before threw for 115 yards in the fourth quarter alone at Atlanta? Remember that? And CeeDee dropped a touchdown pass in that game from Cooper. And Jalen Tolbert had one right on his fingertips that he should have left his feet for and caught fairly routinely for another touchdown. And still, Cooper threw for 115 in the fourth quarter alone at Atlanta. Yet, yesterday, Cooper Rush threw for a grand total of 45 yards in the first 3 quarters that he did play. And, of course, in the fourth quarter, Trey Lance was just as bad. Of course, the last time we saw Trey Lance, I'm a big fan, but he was throwing 5 interceptions in the final preseason game against the LA Chargers. 5 interceptions, and he threw another one in the fourth quarter yesterday. What am I supposed to do? So the only 2 people affiliated with the Dallas Cowboys who were happy last night had to be, number 1, Dak Prescott. He's got to be happy as a clam. And Jerry Jones, who did make Dak the highest paid player in pro football history. Jerry had to be rooting against Cooper Rush, who could have, if he'd done what I thought he was going to do, he could have made Jerry look even sillier than he did look giving Dak that deal. All he had to do was just perform the way he had in his 6 previous starts and in the fourth quarter at Atlanta. Instead, Cooper Rush and Trey Lance looked like they couldn't play Texas high school football. They each had QBRs of 16, scale of 0 to 100. 16. Cooper looked like he belonged in the classic rock band Rush, whose members are all in their 70s. I couldn't even recognize him yesterday, as if the real Cooper Rush had been abducted by aliens. Good Lord. Conclusion? I'll amend the old NFL cliche. When you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none. The Cowboys have 3 quarterbacks, and they have none. I can't believe I am saying these words to you publicly now. Of course, it all started with Cooper Rush's early fumbled pistol snap. It's a shorter snap. It hit him quickly in the hands. He wasn't ready, and he gifted Philly a 7-0 lead. Yeah. Couple of nice Cooper Rush plays, a 4th down conversion on a sneak, a 3rd down conversion on a little pop pass to CeeDee. And all of a sudden, that gave Dallas a 1st and goal at the 6. And Micah McCarthy, obviously pressured by Jerry Jones, went blast from the past, went to Zeke, power running up the middle. And of course, he coughed up the football and fumbled it all the way through the end zone. Zeke is a shadow of himself. He's washed, Jerry. He's no longer dedicated and locked in. Obviously, been missing meetings, been late for meetings. Why he was suspended for the Atlanta game. Yet Jerry still thinks it's 2016, the last time Zeke was dominant, and he still forgives and forgets, and they put him in a key moment, and it should have been 7 points, and the Cowboys should have been up 10-7 with 3 minutes left in the first half. Nope. Zeke, fumble. You wanted him, Jerry. Blast from past. Blasted you right in the face. Yet, one play, Micah did make his one play, and he was credited with 2 sacks yesterday, so he brought a little new juice, but he did knock the ball out of Jalen Hurts' hands late in the first half. And then on 2nd and goal from the Eagles 3, CeeDee Lamb broke wide open along the back line of the end zone. And Cooper Rush threw him a pretty good, actually very catchable pass. And I couldn't figure it out when I first saw it. CeeDee ran right by the football without seeing it. Jerry keeps the blinds open to make an indoors game seem a little more outdoors natural. And CeeDee lost the ball in the sun. Cowboys should have been up 10-7 with 2 minutes left in the first half. So after the game, Wacky Jerry gave some wacky answers about how everybody knows where the sun's going to come through this time of year, especially when you have a later afternoon start. The sunshine's going to come through. And Jerry said to the media, "What do you want me to do? Tear the damn thing down?" Meaning the entire $1.2 billion stadium. "No, Jerry, we don't want you to tear it down, but maybe you could just put up some curtains the way you always do for events like concerts. You put up curtains." Jerry, think about this. How different would Dallas 10, Philly 7 have felt at halftime yesterday? Instead, right on schedule, with a couple of minutes left in the half, the defense collapsed. Micah was out there and the defense collapsed. And it was Philly 14, Dallas 6 at half. 14-6 Philly at half. Yet and still, I'm being honest, straight from the heart. I truly believe that Cooper Rush would snap out of it and somehow make a game of it. At least I thought I'd be able to tell you today, well, at least we didn't get blown out. Nope, we got blown out. And I blew up, as did my hat and jersey throwing video. Yet. I will remind you that before the season, I picked the Philadelphia Eagles to win the Super Bowl, and I was not kidding. I picked Jalen Hurts to win MVP, and I am not counting Jalen out for MVP. The Eagles are on a roll that will continue. I remind you, if Saquon hadn't dropped that little game-ending pass late in Atlanta, just a little pop pass, dropped it in the flat. Without that drop, the Eagles would now be 8-1. Yesterday, to me, they sure look like a team that could win it all. I mean, that defense, ladies and gentlemen, is hellacious good. But after all, the Eagles went and got the 2 best corners in the draft. Are Quinn Mitchell and Cooper DeJean ever playing like seasoned studs for Vic Fangio's defense? And speaking of Fangio, the new Philly defensive coordinator, I warned you before the season that he has been a Cowboy nemesis over the years. Remember early November 2021 when his Broncos led Dak and company, Dak played the whole game, led 30-0 early in the fourth quarter. Remember that game? To me, that game at that time was even harder to watch and to stomach than yesterday's game. I mean, I said again and again and again through the offseason that Howie Roseman's Eagles got a whole lot better while Jerry Jones's all-in Dallas Cowboys got a little worse. And I was being nice when I said a little, because it's truly a lot worse by just standing still and doing nothing, all in my ass. So I guess what happened yesterday shouldn't have shocked me, but it just did. Because of Cooper Rush. I'm sorry, I keep trying to talk myself back into this team, and it just keeps embarrassing me. I mean, the Dallas Cowboys have been blown out 5 straight times at home. That's impossible. It's impossible. These are like the 1960 expansion Dallas Cowboys that I used to watch once upon a time. That's how bad it is. Actually, that team was more competitive than this team at home. So near the end of yesterday's game, CBS showed a fan holding up a sign that said, "Romo, go in." And Tony Romo up in the CBS booth answered pretty much the way Dandy Don Meredith once did from the Monday Night Football booth back on November 19th, 1970. You longtime fans will remember this. That night, the Cowboys were losing at home. It was in the old Cotton Bowl, 38-0 to the then St. Louis Cardinals. So when the Cowboy fans started chanting, "We want Meredith, we want Meredith," Dandy Don, the first great Cowboy quarterback, turned to Howard Cosell and said, "No way you're getting me down there." But guess what the difference was that season? That Cowboy team proceeded to win its last 5 games and made it all the way to the Super Bowl before losing at the buzzer to a field goal from the Baltimore Colts. That obviously it will not happen this year. Tom Landry ain't walking through that door. I'm sorry, I'm now walking out that door. This 3-6 season has officially turned into a nightmare. Now I have no choice. Now I'm rooting for my Dallas Cowboys to lose every remaining game, including at Carolina, and to the sorry Giants on Thanksgiving at Scary World. It has come to this. Now for my worst nightmare. I've been hearing about a whole lot of YouTube chatter about the 2-8 Giants losing every remaining game, and quote unquote winning the first pick in the draft, and taking Shedeur Sanders and luring Deion Sanders to New York to coach his son for what, the next 15 or more seasons? No. Please tell me my Cowboys won't have to deal with Shedeur in New York and Jaden Daniels in Washington and Jalen Hurts in Philadelphia while we are stuck with Dak, at least for the next 4 years. And by the way, now Dak needs surgery for his hamstring that is torn off the bone. I mean, he's lost most of his mobility, so he tries to run a little bit against Atlanta, and he tears his hamstring off the bone. I didn't see any, wild movements. My point is he not getting more and more injury prone the deeper he gets into his career? And now he's making the most money in the history of professional football, and we're stuck with him for 4 more years? You are kidding me. When it rains, it pours all over me and my Cowboy-loving soul. But here's the point. Shedeur and his father belong in Dallas, Texas, where Deion starred for the last Dallas Cowboys Super Bowl team. Remember, the Cowboys are only a game out of having the worst record, shared now at 2 losses by the Dolphins and the Browns and the Jags and the Raiders, and yes, the Giants, all 2-loss teams. We're a 3-loss team. So I believe if given a choice, Deion would choose Dallas over New York for his son and for him. Shedeur grew up in the Dallas area. Deion still has a home in the Dallas area. Deion loves Dallas, Texas. Shedeur was born, literally born, to be a Dallas Cowboy. And after all, I deserve Shedeur in Dallas. I'm pretty sure I was first to market on him becoming the first pick in the draft. I'm pretty sure I was, all the way back to Jackson State days. Early this year on this show, I talked about an ESPN breakdown that ran just before the season began. That breakdown had Shedeur going late first round at best and more likely second round. And I said right here on this show, what? No. Shedeur will go first overall in this upcoming draft. Shedeur is more consistently accurate and more clutch than Cam Ward or Jalen Milroe. And Shedeur is as tough as they come. He will stand and he will deliver and he will take his medicine right in the kisser. I thought Cam Ward, and I did watch the whole game, I thought he was a little disappointing Saturday at Georgia Tech, especially late. Little hit and miss. I'm leaning slightly to Milroe for the second best quarterback in the draft. I do not love Quinn Ewers or Nussmeier. I'm on record. I do not love either one. But I've said all along, steadfastly, the second best player in this draft is Travis Hunter, who will play receiver as well as cornerback in pro football and who will go down as the greatest two-way player in NFL history. If I'm picking second and or third and I desperately need a quarterback, I guess I'd close my eyes and take Milroe, then Cam Ward. I reserve the right to change. I need to see both of them under fire in bigger and bigger games as the season wears on and heats up. But Travis Hunter is going to have Deion impact in pro football, as in Deion was the difference in San Francisco winning the Super Bowl off the 1994 season. Then Deion was the difference in Dallas winning the Super Bowl in 1995. I was there, trust me. Travis Hunter will have that kind of impact. Travis Hunter should go no lower than fourth overall. I'll stake my claim to that. Shedeur and Travis were the two biggest reasons I predicted Colorado would make it all the way to the Big 12 title game. Predicted that before the season began, and a lot of people laughed at me. A lot of people scoffed at me, and a lot of people just hated because Deion and Shedeur do inspire hate. But I believe because they will have, by far, Colorado will have by far the two best players on the field, by far, against Utah and at Kansas, and then against what's left of Oklahoma State, that Colorado will win out. And it looks like play BYU for a spot. I'll be in the Big 12 championship game for a spot in the 12-team playoffs. And wouldn't that be a story? Can I see Deion and company in the playoffs as he predicted they would be? You better believe I can. I have supported, I have defended Deion and Shedeur from the start. So I deserve them, both of them in Dallas next season. We must lose to the Giants at Jerry World on Thanksgiving. We must lose what well might turn into the Shedeur Bowl. Quick time out for a sip of the Nectar of the Gods, Diet Mountain Dew. Breakfast of Champions. Okay, now let's reverse field and take a hard look at last year's first overall pick, Caleb Williams. Yep, I endorsed Caleb to go number one because at Oklahoma, school I grew up rooting for, and at USC under stinking Lincoln Riley, I saw a special playmaker, big arm, such athletic escapability and wizardry. Not Mahomes, but at least Mahomesian. Until yesterday, the Bears were 4-0 at home, and they did start the season 4-2. But yesterday, Caleb's Bears lost at home 19-3 to New England and Drake May. Not a good look, 19-3. Caleb got sacked 9 times yesterday. He's running away with the NFL sack lead. The Bears scored only 3 points at home because the Chicago Bears went 1 of 14 on third down. And here I thought Caleb Williams had the best receiving core any first overall pick had ever been able to throw to as a rookie, because obviously you go to the first overall pick and it's the worst team. But yesterday, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze, each were thrown 6 passes. And the Bears scored 3 points at home because Caleb went down 9 times behind a Bears line that Pro Football Focus graded actually 11th best in the NFL going into the game. But let's put it in perspective, a line that had lost 4 starters through yesterday's game, 2 to start with and 2 during the game. So at the end of the game, you're playing with 4 subs in the offensive line. Yet and still, in QBR, Caleb Williams has now fallen to 28th of 31 qualified quarterbacks. And over the last 23 possessions for the Chicago Bears, they have not scored a single touchdown. Hard to defend. 23 possessions, no touchdowns. Yet, while I'm concerned, while I'm even troubled by what I've seen so far, especially the last 3 weeks, I am not giving up on Caleb Williams. No way am I ready to dismiss him as a bust. Way too much talent, way too much flair connected to talent. But Caleb Williams is going to have to learn how to play NFL quarterback, and it might take a new coaching staff to reach him and ultimately teach him. In this league, you obviously can't just run around until you find somebody open and make a miracle, make a highlight. You have to learn to read and react quickly to get rid of the ball on time, even if it's for just some ho-hum 4-yard gain. Let's see, mathematics, not great at mathematics, but 3 straight 4-yard gains equals first down conversion. See Tom Brady, GOAT. Aha. Caleb, listening? Caleb obviously still sees himself as a star who can make it work his way. So until he swallows some pride and changes his entire self-image and his entire approach, he will struggle in this league in which everybody is bigger, stronger, faster, quicker than in college football. The Mahomes stuff works in timely doses, but not as a steady diet. Steady diets of running around and showing off your arm and your creativity will get you sacked 9 times at home, will get you 3 points at home, will get you under fire in Chicago. I lived in Chicago, worked in Chicago, wrote a lot about the Chicago Bears, and it's possible that it's such a dreary franchise since 1985 that it just eats its own young quarterbacks. Jay Cutler had his moments, wound up on an exercise bike, second half against Green Bay in that home NFC Championship game that led to Aaron Rodgers' one and only Super Bowl. And speaking of Caleb, they played the second half with the immortal Caleb Haney in for Jay Cutler from Vanderbilt University, I point out. But yesterday, Caleb Williams looked like Caleb Haney. And it scared me, but I am not giving up on Caleb Williams. Scale of 1 to 10, my concern level for Caleb Williams, miracle maker at Oklahoma and USC, is a 5. Okay, the two most amazing things I saw all day and all night yesterday happened in the 49ers at Bucs game. First, Baker's stiff arm. 4th and 7 from Tampa Bay's 37 with just under 2 minutes left. Bucs down 3. Baker scrambled, and he kept scrambling to his right, and Nick Bosa was in hot pursuit. Bosa got a hold of Baker's left arm. I can't really go stiff arm here. Somehow Baker did sort of hold him off, although I think Bosa kid glove Baker because Bosa was afraid that yanking Baker down would wind up with some kind of 15-yard penalty for roughness or whatever it might have been. But I'm rooting for Baker. I'm screaming at my TV, just throw it. Throw it to somebody, anybody. Just throw it. Throw it up in the air. And just when I thought Baker was going down and that the game was over, he did manage to launch a sorry-looking wobbler that his running back, Rachaad White, was somehow able to snare for 8 yards and a miraculous game-saving first down play of the day. One of the plays of the year. I got to tell you, I love to watch Baker battle, even without Mike Evans, without Chris Godwin. Baker battling. Joy to watch. And remember, it was Baker and the Bucs who gave Detroit its lone loss this season, 20-16, up in Detroit. Seriously, I enjoy watching Baker battle even more than I love watching Burrow or Lamar or Mahomes or Josh Allen. Baker battles. That 4th down miracle set up the tying field goal with 41 seconds left, which was only made possible because Niners kicker Jake Moody, just back from injury, had missed 3 straight field goals. So after that third straight Jake Moody missed field goal with 3:13 left, I saw something I'd never seen in an NFL game, and I've been doing this for a long time. I saw a long snapper go after a badass receiver, the most intimidating wide receiver in football. That receiver, Deebo Samuel, said something to Jake Moody as he came off the field after that third miss in a row. Something that long snapper Tabor Pepper did not like hearing. I'm guessing Deebo cursed at Jake Moody, and it sure looked like Tabor defended his kicker by cursing back at Deebo. Deebo pushed this Tabor Pepper in the face mask. And here came Pepper after him like he wanted to go right there, wanted to throw down, wanted to fight. I was impressed. That took guts, or maybe that was just blind anger from a long snapper. He just snaps on kicks and punts. Even though Tabor Pepper is 4 inches taller than Deebo and outweighs him by, I don't know, maybe 30 pounds. But Deebo just turned away and kept walking. Do I think Tabor Pepper backed him down? I do not. But I do think Pepper's rage snapped Deebo back to reality, as in, what are we doing here? Deebo showed me some maturity to not turn and engage. As Deebo said after the game, I kind of got out of character a little bit. Well, then he showed character. And so did Jake Moody, who got one last chance to redeem himself from 44 yards away for the win. Do you realize how much pressure was on this kid? Think about this. If he had missed a 4 straight field goal, that would have been at least career threatening, especially if the Bucs had been able to pull it off and win in overtime. But to his undying credit, Jake Moody snuck it in inside the upright for the win. And all of a sudden, winning cures everything. All was right in 49er land. Deebo said he was going to talk to Jake Moody. I'm guessing he meant apologize to Jake Moody. Look, as you know, I hate field goal kicking. What a silly gimmick it is that often decides the great game of football played by all those great warriors who have battled it out for almost 60 minutes, only for the game to be decided by a little guy trotting onto the field who can't really play football. But the one thing you never want to do is curse out your kicker during a game that looks like it could come down to a field goal. Quick NBA detour. I have to comment on Giannis's fake handshake offered to Jalen Brown after Giannis had decked Jalen Brown with an elbow, an obvious and dangerous offensive foul. Then down at the other end of the court, Giannis appeared to want to make peace. Giannis extended his right hand, and as Jalen went to shake it, Giannis pulled it back and ran it back through his hair, the classic psych ploy that kids do to each other. Psych. That's why Jalen Brown, after the game, called Giannis a child. That move was definitely childish. Giannis said, well, that's something he would do with his kids. Yet that, Giannis, was the point. He wasn't playing around with his kids. He had just thrown a dangerous elbow into Jalen Brown's face. Giannis argued that, he just tries to play the game with joy, fun. But the point is, Giannis is no longer having fun because the Bucks are 2-8, and his fake handshake was completely out of character because it was a jerk move. Giannis was, pardon my language, just being a real asshole. Losing can do that to you. I mean, he's just trying to make light of something that you can't make light of because this season is crumbling for Giannis. And yet, I first guessed this one. Giannis campaigned, this is going back a year plus ago, Giannis campaigned for the Bucks to trade for Damian Lillard. And I said, be careful what you wish for, Giannis. But no, the Bucks effectively traded Drew Holiday for Dame. And as I warned, they traded away their defensive identity. Dame plays little to no defense. And as you know, Drew Holiday is the guts and glue, was of the Bucks defense and is of the Celtics defense. Everywhere he goes, winning happens, championships happen. No coincidence. Dame was much better playing for a pretty good small pond team in Portland without a whole lot of attention on him, without much expectation. But it doesn't work Dame playing for the Bucks, who fairly recently did win an NBA championship. And I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. Dame's clutchness, Dame time, is way overrated. Yeah, he's had a couple of playoff moments, especially that walk-off bomb he hit against Russell Westbrook in Oklahoma City when they were mad at each other and going mano a mano, and he was so inspired that he hit a big walk-off. But the overall playoff numbers, I won't bore you with them now. I'll go deeper into it later. The overall playoff numbers don't scream clutch for Dame the way all the ads he's done nationally scream clutch. And now that the world is watching and expecting, Dame's numbers are falling, and Giannis is fake handshaking and wondering whatever happened to his championship Bucks. One other quick NBA note, and one quick sip of the nectar of the gods. pains me to even remark about this, but I'm still reeling from what happened to my guy, Chet Holmgren, last night. My team, the Oklahoma City Thunder, from my hometown of Oklahoma City, the team I picked to win the West, off to a great start, thanks in part, large part, to Chet Holmgren. At Denver, the first time they played there twice, Chet flat out outplayed Joker. Was off to a great start. He's a dominating player on both ends of the court, but especially on defense as a shot blocker and changer. So Andrew Wiggins challenged him at the rim yesterday. Chet went up, lost his balance in midair, took a scary bad fall, and he fractured his pelvis. They're going to reevaluate him in a couple of months. They hope to have him back this season. Chet, want to wish you a speedy recovery. To thank you for all you did for my Oklahoma City Thunder so far this year. It's going to be tough without Chet and Isaiah Hartenstein, who was brought in to be Chet's sort of bouncer, backup enforcer. Do some of the dirty work that Chet just isn't physical enough to do, as in rebounding, power blockouts, a little grit, a little muscle that the Knicks are missing from Hartenstein. He's out now too, with a broken hand for another few weeks. So it's going to be tough sledding as the clock turns. Season changes in Oklahoma City and it gets colder and colder. It's going to be pretty tough for them to do anything but just try to hang on for dear life. And Chet and Isaiah, I wish you both a speedy recovery. So Patrick Mahomes got outplayed yesterday in Kansas City by a rookie named Bo Nix, who had a 69 QBR to Mahomes' 62. Now Mahomes has thrown only 12 touchdown passes to 9 interceptions, yet the Chiefs are 9-0. Last night, Jared Goff threw 5 interceptions and fell to 21st in QBR. Jared Goof, not Goff, Goof. Yet the Lions somehow won at Houston last night to climb to 8-1. The Chiefs and Lions really showed me something yesterday and last night. They won those games because of their cultures, because of their head coaches, because of their coaching staffs, and because their stars truly believed they were going to somehow win said game. Now, the Chiefs have been lucky to win 2 or 3 of their 9 games so far, but not yesterday. They weren't lucky yesterday. Andy Reid said they had practiced that field goal block many times in practice, but that it had never worked. Well, it sure worked yesterday. It looked like 3 different Chiefs could have blocked the little 35-yard field goal that would have beaten them, probably should have beaten them at the buzzer. That was superior coaching. As bad as Jared Goff was for much of the night last night, I got to give him this. He's straight-faced, unflappable, stoically, emotionlessly, unfazed by mistakes. He just keeps playing because he knows Dan Campbell believes in him and has his back in ways Sean McVay never did. So on that late 3rd and 6 at the Houston 48, needing to convert to set up the winning field goal, Jared Goff delivered right on the money to St. Brown for 11 yards. And Jake Bates barely won it from 52 yards out. From down 23-7 at half to winning 26-23 to 8-1. Now, were the Lions lucky that C.J. Stroud is struggling, even regressing without Stephon Diggs and Nico Collins, obviously his 2 best receivers? You bet. They were a little lucky. But what they did last night is how you go win a Super Bowl. Just ask the Chiefs. Now for one final note. For those worried about whether I scared our daughter, Hazel, our little Maltese, during my video, when, as you probably saw, she leaped off the chair as I yanked off my jersey. No. Hazel actually thought I wanted to play. So where she was going, she ran straight across me and over to the cowboy hat I'd thrown. And as soon as we finished the video, she started running around the house with it in her teeth. And when I tried to get it away from her, she play growled at me, and she began to play a fierce game of tug-of-war with me over my cowboy hat. I said, "No, Hazel, you're going to tear my hat apart." I think she knew that was exactly what I hoped she would do. Tear that hat apart. That's it for this episode. Thanks to Tyler Korn for producing, to Ernestine for overseeing, and of course, as always, to Hazel for approving.